That sounded kind of low, actually. Okay, time to keep my or whatever channel I guess people wanted to hear some more story stuff, so I'm gonna do a story time. I'm gonna try to make it a little bit psychological, I guess, as well. About I often get asked about was I actually a nerd or was I unpopular or anything like that because some people didn't know me back when I was a kid, and I talk about how I've experienced different sides of the social spectrum of being unpopular and being popular. So I'm going to tell my story about, I hope this is working. I have to like check it. It is working, right? Correct, hopefully. Um, I'm gonna tell about my story about how I was bullied, um, my sort of abuse story, suicide, blah 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 blah. And some of the time frame is not totally gonna match up because it just doesn't, which show is gonna be the psychological point, which shows you kind of how like fucked up kids are, I guess. So a very long, long time ago, I had moved, and it was right around the time that my dad killed himself. And I know I've talked about that story before, and it's a pretty weird story if you think about it a lot. Which I guess I don't, because if you think about it, it's a pretty crazy story. So I had told my dad that he was gonna die, and basically he didn't care, and he took a shotgun and he basically blew his head off, and I didn't see him pull the trigger, but I saw like the blood on the floor. You know what I mean? So I guess if you think about it, that's pretty fucking crazy, right? But I don't know. I don't really think about it, I guess. But it's a pretty extreme story, right? It's pretty fucking weird. But I don't know. Like I said, if I guess if I think about it, it's really weird. But anyway, so my dad killed himself, right? So this is going to be relevant earlier or later on. So I had moved. My dad had killed himself, blew his head off, and so I'd moved into. So this was like around. Then we got to like fifth grade, and fifth grade I was like getting pretty popular. I was like not like high tier, but I guess I was like mid high tier, something like that. You know what I mean? And then when I got to sixth grade I was popular. I would say I was definitely mid high tier, and I was also friends with like the most popular guy in school, and I was friends with I think basically like the three most popular girls in school, right? So then everything changed real quick, right? So those one of the most popular girls ended up moving that I was friends with, and the most popular guy ended up moving, right? And who knows, maybe they were like fucking protecting me or something in sixth grade. I don't know. Maybe they were protecting me or something, dude. I'm not sure. Um, but I ended up becoming super unpopular in seventh grade, like lickety split, dude. Like I went from being mid-tier popular, you know what I mean, popular with like the most popular kids in school till I basically was beat up at the bus stop almost every single day. I had rocks thrown at my face. I used to get spit on all the time. I would have girls tell me how ugly I was in class and all that kind of stuff. And even a couple of those, even a couple of the popular girls that I was used to be friends with in sixth grade, literally, they came up to me and they had told me how ugly they always thought I was, all this kind of stuff. And I guess some other stories I can tell you. I also remember, save an example of how unpopular I was, just besides getting beat up every fucking day, right, dude? Cliche things like people put kick you signs on your back and stuff like that. I don't know if they still do that, right? Do they still do that? I'm not sure. Kids, they like trip your feet from under you while you're walking, that kind of thing. And a story I can remember is I was like so unpopular, I stopped eating lunch at lunch because, and I would only get like a bag of Fritos because that was the only thing that people couldn't mess with because kids would like end up taking my food, like, because I like chicken, dude. I still like fucking chicken, dude. Kids would like take my chicken and they would like put it on the floor and then they would like put it back on my table. And they're like, eat it. You know what I mean? And or they would just spit in my food and everything like that. So I ended up just eating Fritos after that every day for lunch because that was something that I could like protect, I guess. And so it was a really bad year, dude. Like, and also, as people know, I don't come from a very lovey-dovey family. Um, so the home situation was not good because I was being abused at home at the time. I think people know my mom is like bipolar and manic depressive, so she's pretty crazy and she's abused me before. So I was also coming home to her, always telling me how ugly she thought I was and how I was worthless every day. What are some crazy stories I could tell about my mom? I know my real friends probably know. I mean, my mom is, she's not all there all the time, right? And then so my mom would slap me around too, and then my mom also let her boyfriends abuse me too. And my mom did have one boyfriend that abused her as well, so it wasn't just me. But I would say I know I've tried to make it funny because I try to make some of these stories funny because all you can do is laugh about them now. It wasn't like a made for movie kind of thing, but like Guile has a backhand in Street Fighter. You know what I mean? So imagine if Guile's backhand wasn't a fierce, but it was like a jab backhand. So I remember very clearly one day, getting a big Guile backhand to the face from the boyfriend, and I was like bleeding and stuff. Not a lot, but And it's funny because, whatever the case, you know what I mean? So it was a bad home atmosphere. And I could tell you after that, it's funny because my mom conveniently doesn't remember any of this. She remembers protecting me, which is okay, dude. You know what I mean? It just shows you how, like, but I guess, women are crazy, right? What are you going to do? People live by whatever perspective keeps them going through life. She says she was sick, so she doesn't remember it all anymore. But my mom is kind of a bullshit person, to be honest with you. So it's one of those things. It just is what it is. What are you gonna do, right? I mean, I don't know what to say. I just kind of like, whatever. This is just how you've chosen to live your life. Your life is a lie. It is what it is, I guess. Whatever gets you through the day. And it was actually so bad that because the police were getting called, and I remember so I would get called in from class a few times, and the police would like talk to me at school, and they would ask me if I was being abused and all this kind of stuff. But you're afraid as a kid, so you just say no. And but of course, that's like I remember like, God, it's funny because like you're being abused at home, and then the cops come ask you if you're okay, and then you go back to class crying, and then the kids in school are like spitting on your food and beating you up every day. It was a really bad situation. It sucked. So this is gonna be a funny story though, sort of, and it's crazy. I remember towards the end of the year, I remember actually, one of the kids came up to me at lunch, and he's like, Clayton, and he was like, "Do you want to know why everyone hates you?" And I don't remember what it says. Probably something like, "Oh yeah, why does everyone hate me?" Because you're like at that point you're just so fucking numb, right? And I was like, "Why does everyone hate me?" And it was like because you told. I don't know if I should say his name because I can actually say too long didn't read or too long didn't watch. I have received a couple apologies from people after becoming an adult, and not bullshit ones like girls want to fuck me now because I became popular. Not like bullshit ones like that. I have received a sort of a couple of legitimate apologies, right? But I could tell you the main assholes never actually have apologized to me, right? So there I spoiled it for you there. But I'll get into that later. But and he was like, "Do you want to know why everyone hates you?" And he's like, "Because in fifth grade, this is crazy. So this is already going to show you how crazy kids are, right? Because this is seventh grade, and in fifth grade and sixth grade, I was still pretty popular, right? He's like in fifth grade when so and so's parents divorced. Uh, you told him that I don't remember exactly what he said. He said some kind of bullshit like you made fun of him for his parents being divorced or something like that. And I remember trying to recall it because he was a pretty popular kid. He was kind of at my level. And as you kind of see like the social spectrum of school, he did end up becoming popular, more popular than me, obviously, right? And I remember hearing that his parents divorced, and I vaguely recalled something like it, and just telling him, "Oh, it would be okay." And I think it was almost something like, "Man, people were just like, oh, Clayton's dad just fucking blew his brains out," or something like that. You know what I mean? So don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. You know what I mean? Blah blah blah. It was something like that actually that I recall. And it was just like I was like, dude, I think I said I never said. I was like, dude, I never said that. Why would I make fun of him for his parents being divorced? And the kid was actually like, dude, Clayton, I was there, and I know you made fun of him for it too. And it's like one of those moments you realize, like, wow, dude, you're just fucked. Like, dude, they've made something up about you. Like, dude, what are you got? What are you talking about? You're saying you were there for something that didn't exist? Ooh, boy. So anyway, skip. Like I said, I told Luca I was just so unpopular that it was a very terrible year. I had to go home from school one day because the rock hit me and blood was coming down, and it was just God. It was just like such a drastic change. And then in eighth grade was my like crawl from the depths of hell. Started becoming, I wasn't quite low tier. I was just low tier. I wasn't like, the lowest of tiers, but I was just like, crawling up. I wasn't abused every day at the bus stop, kind of unpopular. And and then in high school, like I said, I started to become actually a little bit popular. And I know people. Um, I had quit school right as I really started to become popular and with girls and everything like that. And I do remember it's kind of funny because I remember in high school then some of the kids that were assholes to you couldn't quite be as assholish to you, you know what I mean? Because you were becoming popular. And you could see some of them were so fakely cool. It was kind of weird. And some of them you could tell they wanted to be mean to you still. And some of them actually wanted to be your friend again. It was a little bit, it was pretty fucking weird. But I didn't go to high school for very long. So I recall that. If you want to ask, was I ever like, and did I ever defend myself? I only like really defended myself once, and this was like right when I got into the beginning of high school because there was this kid that was on the football team, and he was like the low tier of the football team. He was like the fat kid on the football team, and I was like, boy, I'm not starting the year off getting like made fun of by like the low tier of the football team. Like the football team is making fun of this guy on the football team. I'm not. So this guy was like, kind of like God, what was he doing? Something probably just stupid. He just kept getting on my nerves and maybe slapping me in the back of the head or something like that. And I remember, dude, because he sat like right next to me. And one day, God, I feel like, did he have a stutter too? Because I know one kid had a fucking stutter. Did he have a stutter too? Maybe he did. And maybe it's going to make the story funnier if I say he has a stutter. He was like, hey, Chapman. And he was about to like slap me or something. And I went up and I like took his fucking his like football jersey and he was like so surprised and I went boom boom and I like he flipped over the desk, dude, and everyone was like not everyone was in class yet because at the beginning of class, but the few people that saw it, they're like, oh fuck, dude. And he was like so fucking shook up, bro, dude. And he was like, dude, he never talked to me for the rest of the year. Not only did he not fuck with me, he like wouldn't even look at me, dude. He was like just so shocked I did something. But that was only the real big like thing I stood up for myself per se. But yeah, like so yeah, it was a really bad year. And I can tell you it was just yeah, so that's why and I guess like they made it up, right? That who knows the real reason why. And I can tell you even after I became popular, this kid that I heard made that up, me and him have never been friends ever. I can tell you again, like of course I've told this story, like this is why I'm like have such a like chip on my shoulder in general, right? Because I've seen the different like social spectrums of being popular. Girls telling you how ugly they think you are. One minute they like you, next minute they hate you. Then the next minute, I've seen some of these girls that are trying to be nice to me, like they want to fuck me, dude. It's so fucking stupid, dude. It's like really, dude. God, I remember I saw one of these girls one time, dude. What did I see? I saw her so many years ago, and you could tell that. God, because a woman's value, a girl's value goes down so much when they're not good looking, right? And they're old. And you could tell that, like, people, not that I'm anybody. What am I, dude? I'm like someone that's, the most famous. Like, dude, my pictures get stolen on the internet a lot, and there's a lot of fakes of me. And people get mad that I beat them in video game tournaments, right? So they make up lies about me. Not that I'm cool, but I keep myself in shape as best I can when I'm not in the hospital and everything like that, dude. So, and God, I remember some of those girls at dinner because it was like a big group and she was there. And I remember she kind of looked at me and she kind of tried to say something. I just was like, and I was like, oh my God. And like, there's not even like a vengeance fuck or something like that because she's not even like good looking anymore, But I don't know. I don't know. This is kind of getting to like a girl guy kind of thing too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm one of those people that like really, if I don't really like you, it's very, I can't really see myself having sex with someone if I don't like them, even if they're really good looking. It's very hard to get into that kind of mindset. But, um, yeah, so I said only a couple people actually ever really apologized to me too for it. Like so many years ago, or many, many years ago, I guess now. But I do remember like a few, probably like two specifically. Like I said, not like a girl, not like a fake girl apology. Like God, I can't tell me how many times like you grown and hear girls like, "Oh my God, I always thought you were so funny. I always liked you." It's like, oh yeah, did you, dude? Really? You really fucking liked me? God, I should tell this story, dude. I heard this. I heard some girls trying to complain to me recently. Oh my God. It's like, dude, like I'm not saying I'm a somebody, but dude, if you think I would ever fuck you, you're fucking crazy. Like I still get messages from people sometimes in school, and it's like, dude, do you really think I would fucking waste my time with you, dude? Like, what is your fucking value, dude? You're old. I guess I'm old too if they're old now too, right? But it's kind of like you're old and you're not even good looking, dude. Like, why would I fucking waste my time with you, dude? Like, what is your fucking value? I already know you're a shitty person, right? Like, but anyway, so I went off a tangent there. So yeah, only a couple of people ever like really apologized, and I remember one guy was like, and he was a guy too. He was like a popular kid, but he never like went in on it with everyone else. And he's like, dude, Clayton. He's like, I just want to tell you, dude, I still feel bad about that every day, dude, or something. He's like, I know that your dad killed himself, and he's like, I know you would have never done that, dude. And I remember when you were like really unpopular, and I always felt really bad about that. And he messaged me a few times saying that, so I felt it was like genuine. You know what I mean? And I had another guy too. He's messaged me, multiple times before. He's like, "Yeah, dude." He's like, "I know you weren't like that, dude, and I still feel bad that not that he was like really in on it, but I didn't do anything to stop everyone. So I took those as kind of like legitimate apologies, but I've actually never been apologized to like the real people that were like spitting on me or like trying to beat me up or anything like that. I have had one of the guys kept constantly friending me on Facebook over and over again, and he would try to talk to me. I'm like, dude, what the fuck do you want, dude? Because it's just like, and this it actually gets to a thing that I think that a lot of people, and I've said this too about video games too. I think a lot of people when they've done something so fucked up, and this isn't that I would forgive them either, right? It's not like I'm not fucking Jesus. Why the fuck do I need to forgive you, dude? Right? Um, I think a lot of people when they do something really fucked up, like say even in the video game community, say how many people have made up lies about me. You know what I mean? And God, people are making up lies about me when I was sick. I mean, look at that fucking, jeez, people are trying to say I faked being sick even now. People do anything they can do to get people to not watch my fucking videos, dude. Like, I mean, is there anyone else in the fighting game community that has had so many lies about them made up that has done so much for the fucking community in actuality? You know what I mean? And of course, no one like, even though I've said video games too, I've never really gotten any apologies for video game stuff. Like, I've had a few people be like, "Oh, well, it was a long time ago. You should try to be our friend again." It's like, why? Why? Like, you're not even a girl. Like, at least if you're a girl and you're really hot, I might think about just like fucking you or something. But why would I? You're a dude. What the fuck is your value? You're not even fucking good at the video game in the first place. Like, what the fuck, dude? Right? So Yeah, I think when someone does something really a lot of fucked up, they don't want to apologize because then it's like admitting they actually did such a terrible thing. And not that I would forgive them anyway, right? Because at the end of the day, I also think asking for forgiveness is a very, I think as a kid, even if you're a kid, you know right from wrong, right? You know right from wrong. I don't really believe that, not kid, I don't believe that most kids, even at, you know, how old would I have been, 10 years old or something, are fucking extremely malicious, right? You know what I mean? You know about being an asshole or not being an asshole. You're old enough to know that, right? You know what I mean? I think a lot of things that people say about kids not knowing right from wrong and like oh not being an adult. I can tell you I'm an adult and I still don't know what I'm doing half the time, but I know right from wrong, right? I know what being an asshole is, right? I mean, again, so many again we use the video game thing, so many people have tried to make up that I'm an asshole, but go show me where I've been starting all these fights with all these people. I'll respond to you. If you're fucking making up bullshit about me, yeah, I'm gonna call you out. And no, I'm not gonna forgive you and be your friend. Like, you know what I mean? So who's the real asshole? Like Clayton's not Jesus, so he's an asshole. Well, dude, look at the shit you've been doing, right? You know what I mean? Fucking people are profiting off of shit I've done, right? Nowadays, it's just like so. Again, like I said, not that I would forgive any of these people from school, but and I think a lot of things the damage is already done. You already like fucked it up, like you know what I mean? So that's like basically, you know, and I've said this before, like being bullied and like being really unpopular like that. And again, who knows the real reason? I guess it could just be that guy really had it out for me, and those kids that were my friends were the only ones protecting me, and other people in the group really hated me for some reason. Who knows? I'll probably never know the real answer, and I would never forgive the real answer either. You know what I mean? So it doesn't. It is what it is. Um, and of course, like geez, you know, I've had such an extreme life, right? So I've this is a lot of times people's like, you like, how do you know like these different sides of it? Were you actually unpopular, whatever? That's why I said like being out, and then I've had times of being very popular, right? And I can say that's why the difference is. You know what I mean? When I realized like being really unpopular and being really popular, the difference is when you're really popular, you still have a lot of people making shit up about you because they want you to be a bad person or they want to make something up. But at least you have people that are being good to you for no reason too. That's really the only difference, right? I mean, because there's still people that are being dicks to you for no reason, but they can't get away with it as much because there's actually people being nice to you as well, right? So almost in a way, there's almost that middle ground of maybe that's the best way to live life if you, because then you're kind of like indescript, no one really cares. But then if no one cares, that's that too. Actually, probably the best way to be in life is to be really popular and be real rich. Because then it's like your fucking social proof is set, right? Because it's like, man, even if this guy was an asshole, he's fucking rich, right? You know what I mean? So he's got a lot of fucking social proof that way. He's fucking comfortable in his life, right? You know what I mean? So anyway, that was a bit of a sad story, I guess, but people want to hear stories. So that was a story time. People have asked about the nerd time. Again, I don't know what you really want to know. I mean, it was like I was really unpopular in seventh grade. It was just a real bad time. Bad time, man. Anyway, I do got a couple more vlogs to do before I go to Japan. I'm gonna make a vlog about I'm going to Japan, and I got a couple other vlogs to make, and then I'm gonna be skedaddling here in a few weeks. So, the end.